This is the best breed of rabbits for meat business. The New Zealand white. We call it the broiler of rabbits. It's the one that grows, it has the fastest maturity. 4 months at 2.5 kgs is a good deal.
What is the price of 1 kg of rabbit meat currently in Kenya?
In our case, we set it at 790 shillings because we have studied the neighborhood prices of the local meats.
Okay.
And we want to encourage uptake of the meat against our own cost of production also.
How many rabbits do you have here? How many hatches do you have? And how big is the space you're housing them?
It's an urban farm basically. So we have kept 315 hatches just around the front and the side walls, leaving the house behind. At full capacity, it can be 1,000 rabbits if you do 200 and something times 5 rabbits per hatch, that's 1,000. Yes.
So this space can hold a maximum of 1,000?
1,000. My name is David Mwangi. This is Kiserian town. This is Rabbit Crew Kenya. We are involved in the entire rabbit value chain. That is construction of hatches, breeding, stock, and recently we are going heavy into retail of rabbit meat consumption. We have a butchery and a hotel where you cook rabbit meat only, and the contemporary meals, the Kenyan meals. I'm a trained telecommunication informations engineer who decided not to practice but to venture into business. And of course I found myself in the agribusiness space, and this is why I found myself doing full-time currently.
Okay.
And several people working with me currently. So I think I would go on. I am not limited to practice my work or my career if I wanted on the side.
But this currently takes up most of your time?
Yes, but rabbit work has taken up almost 100% of what I do.
So currently, what is your main, as far as the rabbits farming goes, what is your main business? Is it the supply of the rabbit meat?
They are on and off. Of course, when I was starting, I didn't have a lot of meat consumers because they didn't have a lot of meat to sell. Started with a few hatches and you grow with the business. I will make hatches for people. It's also a major component of our business. I will sell accessories to rabbit farmers. I will do training. And you have to think, you can't have one particular line of income.
Yeah.
But if I was to get maybe to say even 10,000 hatches or so or rabbits, you can easily say need to become my primary source of income and it can work. But why have one? Because there is a need. There are people who are looking for nice hatches, they can't get them, you can make them, why not? Besides my own consumption, I realize rabbits have a very huge advantage. They're very productive. We call rabbits induced ovulators. That means you don't need to wait for a rabbit to be on heat to reproduce. So you're the one who actually plans that I want this rabbit to reproduce, and that can actually put you in business. So it's a good opportunity. And if you understand its value, it's time to put it out there so that anyone who is looking for that, because we have commercial rabbit pellets producers in the country who are doing a heavy investment on it. So why should we not have farmers who are also uptaking what is being produced by those companies? So there's a gap there, and you also have some people asking for rabbit meat. Actually, I've even interacted with people who are looking for rabbit meat as a prescription from a doctor because I have some joint pains, because rabbit meat is very good in calcium and iron and all that. If not that, like we are doing, we have a butchery within our locality. We get people to know, they are getting to see what is it about rabbit meat, and you drive their curiosity, you educate them of the importance of the meat, you create your own market in the process. So if you're able to create your market, or you're able to plug into the few, people who are organizing themselves into the value chain of rabbits, then you're in business. So those are the people who are doing the business of rabbits. So it needs a lot of effort, a bit of effort all through, and that is how the rabbit work mostly is done.
Are there any major retail stores that will stock rabbit meat?
It's far and wide. It's far and wide. We have you walk maybe along the estate, you find there's a butchery that looks for rabbit meat. We don't have there you have in chicken, we have Ken Chicks, we have big organizations.
Okay.
In the rabbit, we have several associations that organize themselves, make a private slaughterhouse, have farmers take their rabbits there, agree as an association on the buying price versus selling price. We have several around Kenya. And
What about like supermarkets? Are there
supermarkets,
currently
yes,
stocking?
you can walk into several of the major supermarkets. They'll be selling rabbit meat, but mostly in agreement with some few private players in the rabbit value chain who are able to source from farmers, process the meat, and then take to the supermarkets.
Okay.
But even in the same establishments, you find there are seasons when they don't have enough rabbits, because even the farmers are always, investing with a lot of caution. So some seasons they have it, some seasons they don't have it. So and also you have some politics in between. The farmers won't have better price from the middlemen. Then the middlemen are not able to negotiate for a better price with the retailers.
Okay.
So when we have what do you call that? That
push and pull.
the push and pull make people to either underinvest at the bottom, or you get the less uptake at the top, or seasonal uptakes. So and those are some of the reasons that made us go into retail by ourselves. So
Okay.
we have not participated there. We've just went into our own establishment, because the end goal is to get a consumer. So if you're able to get a home consumer without going through a supermarket, why not? The pork industry is a good example. The pork industry started, I think it became popular starting in Thika, pork joints. Gadi pork and all that.
Yeah.
Because the beef butcheries and goat meat would not stock pork, because pork in some cultures or some religions is not, they call it halal or something. So you cannot have pork sitting in the same space with the beef. So what was the solution?
They get
Pork
their own
people,
separate joints.
yes, open a separate joint, and they're making a lot of profit out of that, because you're able to keep your pigs and then you take them direct to their consumer without having to rely on another establishment. So if you have several people who can plug in, private people who can plug into the joints space, then we are in business. So that's what we are trying to push for the rabbits, by being an example on the same. And with a capacity here of about 1,000 rabbits maximum, we're able to supply our butchery and even go into a deficit and outsource from farmers from time to time also. When we are able, we do have a space or a deficiency at our own farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a few questions before we start walking around.
Yes.
Now let's talk about somebody who's looking to start.
Yes.
Somebody who's interested in starting rabbit farming currently.
Yes.
What are the most important things they should know? For example, how many rabbits would you advise somebody to start with? Somebody who's looking to do this commercially.
Commercially, now there's no limit, there's no cap. The numbers are the one that guide you. How many rabbits do you want to produce? For example, if you have a block of 12 hatches like these ones, then you keep 4 breeders. For every 3 hatches, you keep 1 doe. That is a female rabbit. So if you have 4 does and you have 1 back, 7 hatches empty, keeping 5 rabbits each, then you have an output of 35 rabbits every 4.5 months or so, give or take, depending on your feeding style. So you're harvesting about 3 times a year, about 35 rabbits per 4-5 months. Okay, so let's be optimistic and say you can harvest 3 times per year. So you have an output of almost maybe 80-90 per year. So now those are the numbers to work with. So if you have 12 hatches, you have an output of 90 rabbits per year. You get? So now it depends now on where do you want to sell your rabbits. Okay, so if you go into retail, that will not be enough. You need so much more. Okay, because maybe assuming you're able to sell between 1 and 5 rabbits per day. If you're talking about 90 rabbits per year, if you're talking about 1 rabbit per day in 365 days in a year, then you need 360 rabbits in the year. If you're getting from 12 hatches 90 rabbits per year, you're talking about 4 times that. If you want to sell 1 rabbit per day. If you want 5 rabbits, times 5 that. So it's instead of 45, 4 blocks of 12, then you're talking about 20 blocks of the same. So it depends. It depends on how you want to grow a business. Again, a very important point to note is that participating both in production and retail will put a lot of pressure on your money. Because now if you open a butchery and the demand for the butchery outgrows your production capacity, and you need to invest a lot of money in production to satisfy your own market, then you have to have deep pockets so that you're able to sustain a huge operation for that.
Okay, that is true. That is true.
So you need to know where to participate. If you don't want to do the work of production and you want to be in retail, then
focus on retail.
Focus on retail, and then give good, attractive prices to your farmers so that they're able to supply you willingly. without holding back, so that you're able to run your butchery effectively.
What is the price of 1 kg of rabbit meat currently in Kenya?
It is not, we don't have a formal structured price that is agreeable countrywide.
Okay.
In our case, we set it at 790 shillings because we have studied the neighborhood prices of the local meats.
Okay.
And we want to encourage uptake of the meat. That has been our guiding principle against our own cost of production also.
At what
Yeah.
at what age is a rabbit ready for slaughter?
Starting 4 months, if you have a good breed that you have housed properly, that is happy in a very clean environment, and you have selected a good breed and you have fed it properly, at 4 months you should be getting 2.5 kgs live weight, which converts to around 1.3 kg dead weight or carcass weight.
That's in 4 months.
Yes.
Okay.
That is usually the average. Some people get a bit higher, some people get a bit lower, depending on those other variables I've mentioned, the 3 issues.
Are you able to calculate, for example, the cost of bringing that rabbit up to that particular point?
Yes.
Vis-a-vis the selling price, for example, in a case of, was it 790?
Yes.
What are the margins like?
Okay. You're going to determine your cost of production based on the direct cost of feeding that rabbit. Okay. So we have to check what are the prevailing prices of the feed manufacturers. We have several companies in Kenya that are doing that. So the average price of the topmost players of the feed manufacturers is going to range between around 400, maximum 450 shillings to produce the 1.3 kg meat. Okay, that has considered the price of the rabbit pellets, and it has also considered the price of hay and water, and some small miscellaneous costs like multivitamins, probiotics, So with that, then you can now see if I'm producing at maximum maybe 450 shillings per kg of meat, who are the players in the middle who are taking rabbits.
And that price of 450 can come down with scaling.
You can,
with economies of scale.
Yes, you can bring down that cost through 2 ways. Number one, the economics of scale will help you in that instead of buying 1 bale of hay, you're able to buy so much more and store and buy cheaper. Or source feeds from a manufacturer and save a few coins because you're using a lot. You have done that severally. Number three, a rural farmer will have a smaller cost of production than an urban farmer.
Because of the availability of feeds? Because
now the greens will supplement, you can dry them to be hay. Even the greens you can use in the grass you have in your farm. So if you have a garden where you are sourcing your own hay, greens and the grasses, then in that aspect you're going to save about 150 shillings of that cost I mentioned. So you are way better off. If you want to sell to a middleman, then you better produce them in numbers in the village, where you have a farm where you are not buying all the feeds. But if you're an urban farmer, then you either have a lot of rabbits to make sense of the small margins and large volumes, or you participate in the retail aspect of the business. We also have some sources of income where you have someone looking for rabbit breeders and you will be selling from one farmer to another. That's also a common way people make an extra coin, because you're able to select some of your best breeders and you help another farmer who is starting up, because you still have to get that from someone.
Okay.
So all the new farmers who are starting, the urban farmers have a lot of network of selling the rabbit breeders. So even if they were to sell some of their rabbits to the brokers at a small margin, they're able to balance their income by selling some of their producers breeding stock to other farmers who are starting. So you have also that space that helps the urban farmers mostly. And if you also have urban farmers who are also making efforts to grow grass, like you can go to Narok or Isinya, have your own plantation of hay
and convert it into hay.
Yes, okay. So that you save your cost and then you're still able to sell to a middleman with a good, sensible profit.
How many rabbits do you have here? How many hatches do you have, and how big is the space you're housing them?
Okay, this is the backyard. This is the outer space of 50 by 100 space, the most typical space people live in the urban setups.
Yeah.
So outside the compound, I've left some few, a small space where I can park my car, a small workshop where I can do the work. It's an urban farm basically, so we have kept 315 hatches just around the front and the side walls, leaving the house behind, and a slaughtering slab on one corner that we do our processing of the meat. So we have 315 hatches, can keep about 120 maximum mothers, breeders. Then the other empty hatches, you're going to use them to house their offspring. You keep males and females separately. Why? If you keep males and females together, they'll start interbreeding, especially because most of the time you're going to keep brothers and sisters together. So that shows you that you have a lot of inbreeding, which is a problem. So you have to control breeding, so you have to keep males and females apart.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So you have in that space 315 hatches. At full capacity, you can produce, it can be 1,000 rabbits if you do 200 and something times 5 rabbits per hatch, that's 1,000. Yes.
So this space can hold a maximum of 1,000.
1,000.
Who are your customers normally?
I would say we have meat consumers.
Okay.
Then
So
we
it's the
have,
individuals, they'll order
yes,
maybe like a
mostly,
kg, 2 kgs?
yes, mostly are home consumers.
Okay.
We have those ones a lot because they're able to eat rabbit meat at least once a week, and that moves our product. So if you have one here, another one there, 2 there, some few that make order through bikes and all that. So those are mostly our favorite. Those are our favorite customers because they make sure that whatever we produce is finding its right audience. That is usually the market issue of rabbits or any other business, that you're able to produce something and to have a consumer or someone uptake it. So those are our favorite customers. They are growing in numbers. Currently we have a lot of even inquiries of even Kenyans living abroad. Recently someone even asked for meat from Qatar. So those are our favorite customers, our best customers. Then number 2, we have people
So
who
with
are,
these ones, we deliver straight to their homes?
yes, or they pick from a butchery.
Oh, okay.
Those 2 categories. So they can either ask for delivery at their own expense through apps like Uber and all that. And then we have people picking from the butchery, others coming to eat and all that. Number 2, we have people who have seen us keeping rabbits and they have seen it working for us, and they also want to join in and
On
also
the business.
on the business, also
Okay.
do the business for themselves. So they are going to engage us in terms of sell us the rabbits to do that business, make the hatches for us, sell to us the accessories so that we can also become like you. It's a free market. If you don't do that, someone else will do it for them. So we do that for those farmers. Number 3, we also have people who are even middlemen, people who have business where we don't have business, and they know customers that we don't know, so they will buy from us and go and sell there. So that's also part of our business. We also have even some some hotels that buy from us. So our hotel has seen us on social media or a butchery, and they want us to supply them. So we also supply several people of that nature.
Okay.
Yes. So we have final consumers, some middlemen, and some farmers who are also looking to plug into the business. So mostly those are our clients. This is the New Zealand white. It's chewing some grass as we talk.
How many kgs is this?
This is about 4 kgs.
How long has it taken you to get to that point?
That about 8 towards 9th month at the moment. This is the best breed of rabbits for meat business, the New Zealand white. This one, we call it the broiler of rabbits. It's the one that grows, it has the fastest maturity rate.
How fast does it reach 2 kgs?
Internationally, the statistics indicate that you should get 2 kgs at 3 months, but that most Kenyans will not be able to get that.
because of
Mostly
feeding.
feed
Okay.
quality.
Okay.
There needs to be a lot of research and also quality of breeds. You find that historically you may be holding a New Zealand white, but the grandfather maybe is another breed.
Oh, okay.
You get?
These are constructions for commercial farmers?
Yes, we have an upcoming project of someone wants to get into the rabbit business. So whatever you're making here, some the hay racks. We also have some welding space here going, and we have the floor meshes. We do a lot of paint work. So these are newest addition to our value chain, the rabbit floor meshes. Okay.
So these are painted to avoid rusting?
Yes, we are trying to save on that time when it gets to degrade over time. But it is thick enough, it's 1 millimeter thick, so it's thick enough so that it actually doesn't need any support from below. Okay. So this one is one of the best ways we are trying to help in the floor issue is a very serious issue nationally on the rabbit part of the business. We don't have dedicated manufacturers for rabbit floor meshes because the uptake is not high. So we are filling up that space now by having this. So this one, it will be steel, but it is steel that is tough.
Okay.
So a farmer who is diligent to sweep away dirt that accumulates in the hatches is going to avoid the build-up of corrosion because they do a lot of cleaning every day.
Okay.
Yes. So this is one of the best. We can have galvanized, maybe even non-rusting mesh, but it is super expensive. We have tried that. The people are not able to buy it. So
Okay.
this is the middle ground of that.
What about this construction here?
This is the welding space. So we are making the hay racks from here, and then the carpentry happens on the other end. So we start from this end. Yes.
Somebody who's looking to start rabbit farming as a business,
Yes.
how can you help them?
The first thing I usually advise people, before you invest in the rabbit business, come for training. We are going to give you honest information. We don't want you to get into the rabbit farming with the hype of I'll become a millionaire. We want you to get to the rabbit business knowing if you keep 10 rabbits, you're going to get 1,000 shillings only after 4 months, for example. So we will teach you properly. We'll teach you like this is a business like any other that needs capital to start, that needs operational cost to run, that needs patience, that needs value addition, that needs all the other processes that any other agribusiness needs to do. So that is it for us. So if you want to start the rabbit business, come for training first. Come and see, have a touch of the business, and see if it's something you can do. Know how you're going to sell your product. We give you the options that are available in the market. Choose what works for you, then go for it.
Okay.
We have a gap there. We have a gap.
So can you talk about, for example, the potential estimated profits when it comes to rabbit farming? Is that something you can touch on?
Yes, the minimum profit for the farmer who just produces in the most expensive urban setup and resells to the middleman usually has been around 100 shillings per kg. Given that you can optimize on the best feeding, best breeding, best housing, so that you're getting the best weight at the minimum time possible, then most farmers are getting about 100 shillings per kg, selling to a middleman. If you want now to add to that margin, if you're producing a few rabbits, then go retail.
How much labor is involved in running a rabbit business? How much labor?
This one, 315 hatches only need one person. This farm is run by only one person.
Okay.
4 hours a day only.
The person doing the maintenance.
Yes, the person doing the cleaning.
But the maintenance has to be done on a daily basis.
No, maintenance is only maybe checking if we have some leakage somewhere, blockage of the pipes. That one can be inspected once.
So that's where the advantage of the self-cleaning hatches comes into play.
Yes,
And the
once a week
nipples-
is enough. Once a week. Actually, the outdoor setup, because you have free airflow, the hatches are much more fresher compared to people who house them indoors. So you can actually even do this cleaning only once a week, on Saturdays, for example.
Okay.
On the same day, you can check whether you have any blockages in your pipes. And of course, every day when you are feeding the pellets, you can touch the nipples to see whether water is flowing. So that one is, so the maintenance is a bit low. When you have automated water, automated hay feeding.
And there's something you can hire somebody to do it for you. So you don't have to be very held down.
Yes, you can do that. If you are a small operation, this is something you can do domestic labor, children, your own family, house help.
Okay.
If you have a few hatches, you only need about 10 minutes to do that every day.
Okay. But I'm saying somebody doing this commercially.
Commercially, now in setup like this one that needs 315 hatches, you need to give you about 4 hours of all that work every day.
Okay.
So if you can't get those 4 hours from your home, then you have to hire someone for 4 hours every day.
Okay.
Yes. And again, it's not a full day job, so the labor will not be very expensive.
Okay.
You can actually have someone work from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then they go home.
How much investment goes into creating one hatch?
You need about 4,400 shillings to set up a fully functional, furnished hatch.
That is one hatch?
Yes.
That houses how many rabbits?
5 rabbits.
Five mature rabbits?
Yes.
Okay.
Usable for at least 6 to 10 years. So you are not going to cost 4,400 shillings in one breeding season. It's not a one-time cost. It's a cost that lasts the lifetime of a very huge, at least 20 generations of breeding is what we say.
Okay.
Yes. And then after that, it doesn't get demolished. You just repair a few minor touch-ups where maybe some rabbits chewed something, maybe a floor that had some sort of breakage or something.
Yeah.
some piece of wood that rotted or something.
Okay.
So that is the cost. So the cost will involve the hay rack, the floor meshes or building materials, carpenter fees, feeding pot, automated drinker. We also give you a tank for nipple drinking
For the
system.
import drinking
Yes.
system.
Yes.
Okay. So, again, for a farmer who's looking to start a rabbit business, what is it you can supply them with?
Everything that you need for the foundational input supplies, we've made sure that we have everything that you need.
For example?
The nipple drinking system that we have a metallic cup, we
Okay.
have that. We also have the plastic ones if you wish, but we don't recommend those ones from experience currently. We also have the hay racks. We are manufacturing those ones. They are the only ones who are manufacturing those in Kenya. We have the rabbit floor meshes. We have clients who don't wish to hire us for the work, but we can sell to them
Or
those
they're going to
accessories.
build the hatches themselves?
Yes.
But you supply them with the materials?
Yes, we can supply them with those. We also have the nesting boxes. You need a nesting box for where the rabbits are going to give birth and breastfeed for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yes. And then you also the clay pots for feeding. You're also going to need those. Yes.